Let's talk for a little bit about Daniel Bryan and his apparently impending arrival in All Elite Wrestling. This has been a long-term bit of news reporting that a lot of different sites are now weighing in on, now that the initial report is different from what it initially is. So let's break it down a little bit. The report goes via bodyslam.net that Daniel Bryan will be debuting for All Elite Wrestling at their upcoming All Out pay-per-view. Bodyslam originally reported that Bryan would be debuting on September 22nd, so like 3 weeks later, but they have now changed this as a result of new information. So, you know how I'm usually providing like updates and this and updates and this. Nothing is hard and fast until it actually happens. This is a case of the exact same thing. Now, for weeks, Bodyslam have been the only company reporting this. And suddenly, over the last few days, they're suddenly having their work confirmed by seemingly everybody. This comes right after Bodyslam had confirmed a ringside news report stating that Jim Ross would be slowly stepping back from AEW commentary, which JR himself stated that he had no knowledge of. So a bit of a mixed week all in all. Happens to the best of us at times. AEW All Out will be taking place on September 5th, so next week. That is a frighteningly short amount of time between the arrival of CM Punk and the apparent impending arrival of Bryan Danielson. Then there's the possibility of a signing for Adam Cole on the horizon, and you can see why people are starting to take AEW even more seriously than they were. Eventually, even Vince McMahon himself is going to have to wake up and start actually watching the other channel with the way they're signing people. But to be fair, Vince McMahon doesn't even watch most of his own content recently, so I don't think we're in any real danger of that. So what's the plan if Daniel Bryan is added to the show? Well, that's a really difficult question to answer, especially when you consider how many people have come in a very short space of time. With CM Punk, we were given significant information ahead of his debut, even though we were never specifically told what it would be. Darby Allin was an obvious contender, a shoo-in. He was hinting most heavily, or maybe second most when you consider the t-shirts that Kenny Omega habitually wore. The man really wears it all on his chest for the entire world to see. What do I expect to see? When it comes to AEW, that's a tricky answer because Daniel Bryan has been very open about his overall intentions. He's one of very few wrestlers who actually come out and say, I want to do this, before then going out and doing it. He wants to travel the world, beating up some of the biggest names out there and generally raising hell. There's been no talk of winning or losing, and honestly, I don't see Bryan as being someone who really much cares about padding out his record. He just wants to put on great matches. He'll be going anywhere and everywhere. Ring of Honor? Sure. New Japan? Absolutely. Why wouldn't you? He'll even be over here in the UK raising hell. His actual time spent amongst the AEW contingent might be a relatively small amount compared to the amount of time he actually spends under contract, but not even there. So who do we want to see Bryan take on? Naturally, we're going to lean towards the big names. The Kenny Omegas, the Jon Moxleys, the Cody Rhodeses. Ultimately, all of these names were stars long before the concept of All Elite Wrestling was even dreamed up. That doesn't seem like Daniel Bryan's style to me. You also have that section of the AEW Next Generation that's actively being pushed and has been since its inception. We're talking Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy and Adam Page. Since day one, they've been pushed. There's the names that AEW are determined to take to the top, to essentially take over from your Chris Jerichos, to take over from your Cody Rhodeses, eventually. Now with the recent arrivals of Matt Hardy, Christian, Miro, Andrade, Malachi Black, CM Punk, and more still to come, those four are still the focus. They've been able to maintain their levels and their airtime. That also kind of doesn't seem like Daniel Bryan's style though. Daniel Bryan is someone who just wants to put on great matches. I can't see him running through that top level or even the second level that we've explained there. No, from where I'm sitting, Daniel Bryan is going to be tearing it up with some of the most talented up-and-coming wrestlers currently struggling to get the TV time that they need to become stars. That's what I see for him in AEW. Meanwhile, outside of that, then he's going to go up against the top names. He's going to be chasing the top level. He's going to be going after the stars. CM Punk might get the biggest rating boost for the company, but Daniel Bryan will be giving you the best match on the card week in and week out. He's going to be the factory, the star maker, the actual machine that generates the next level for your company. If I'm booking AEW, which I'm not, but bear with me while I fantasy book, I'm giving Bryan the TNT Championship, letting him wrestle against someone new every pay-per-view, and otherwise just getting out of the way so that he can travel the world.